Hey guys, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Podcoin app.
Yes! The Podcoin app. It pays you to listen to Ruining Our Childhood, as well as your other favorite podcasts. You can use the Podcoin you earn to claim gift cards for some of your favorite stores.
What? Starbucks?
Check.
Amazon?
Correct.
Target.
Acha.
Seriously, guys, this is pretty legit. Join the Podcoin app today on iPhone or Android. And I said join, but I meant download.
You've got to download
and
it.
use code RUINING to get 300 Podcoin just for signing up.
That's 300 Podcoin for using RUINING.
That's how you spell ruining, just in case you don't know that.
Yes.
So if you're basically listening to podcasts all day anyways while you're working or driving or doing anything, might as well make some money off the deal. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, free coffee for something you're already doing sounds fantastic.
So go give the Podcoin app a try today. And also don't forget to listen to Ruining Our Childhood and make some money, guys.
Okay?
Bye. Three friends attempt to recapture their glory days by opening up a fraternity near their alma mater. Alma mater.
Boom. This is Ryan.
This is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood.
A weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That's correct. And if you're just joining us, hello, welcome.
Welcome.
We are a podcast, like Ryan said. We are rewatching some of our favorite movies from when we were younger.
Yes.
I'm going to start saying because some of the movies are going to start approaching our 20s.
This is one of those.
This is one of those movies. I was still in high school when this movie came out.
I was a senior.
Yes.
Yes.
I was a junior. It's not a competition, Ryan.
It is. And I won.
Okay. Anyway, this, in case you couldn't guess what it was from the beautiful summary I read where I messed up and couldn't say alma mater, we are watching 2003's Old School starring Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Luke Wilson.
Wow. I went with
That's
Owen
Owen.
Wilson.
Luke Wilson doesn't do the wow.
I know, but it was fun just to, because you were like going, which Wilson? And I'm like, I'm going to hit you with the Owen Wilson. I don't know that Luke Wilson has any fun voices that I can make fun of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I've seen a lot of movies with Luke Wilson other than this movie. And there was one he did with Drew Barrymore that didn't do very good. Like, it was called Home Fries or something like that.
Oh.
It was made in like the 1999s. I don't know why I said it like the 1999s.
I'm sure if I looked him up, I've seen some more of his movies.
Yeah.
But I agree. I've definitely seen more Owen Wilson, or at least it made an impression on me better than
I've
Luke
seen
Wilson's.
Idiocracy?
Idiocracy?
Idiocracy. I can't even say it, so I'm one of the dumb people.
There we go. Well,
So anyway, let's move on. What was some of your first impressions of this movie in 2003?
I definitely remember seeing it in theaters.
Yes.
With I know I went and saw it with my brother, and then came into school like the next day or maybe a couple days later and was like, it was the funniest movie. You didn't see Old School? You need to go see Old School. It was so funny. And I thought it was hilarious. Every part of the movie I just was like, this is the funniest stuff. And I remember then all my friends were, when we would drink, we got to act like Frank the Tank and stuff like that. So that's...
It definitely was a movie I remember people quoting a lot.
Yes.
Even when we started dating, which was, for reference, 3 years later. I'm pretty sure you quoted it.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, there's just little things that I'm excited to rewatch because I haven't seen it in a while. I didn't see it in theaters, I'm pretty sure. But I did, watch it shortly after it came out on video. I loved Will Ferrell because I loved SNL and he played some of my favorite characters on SNL. And like I said, I didn't have a huge opinion of Luke Wilson.
No.
But Vince Vaughn I always thought was pretty funny.
I want to say this might be one of the first movies that I really saw with Vince Vaughn, especially in theaters. It was after this I saw some of his movies, because also he was made in a cameo in Anchorman, and then obviously Wedding Crashers with, wow, Owen Wilson.
That's another one that I don't think will age well, so we should add that to our short list of
definitely
upcoming movies.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you on Will Ferrell. Like, I know I had seen him in movies before, but I want to say this was, like, obviously he's not the star of the movie because it was more of a trio.
Yeah, but he's one of the trios.
Yeah, he's definitely, and this kind of, he took off after this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't remember, it's something I'll definitely have to look up, maybe before we watch the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was in any big parts. I think for a while there, he was just one of those people that was like almost like a character actor.
Yeah, like he made like a bit cameo in Austin Powers.
He played like random little tiny characters.
Yeah. Pretty
much like every, I think, SNL cast member does.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing I remember from this movie is Will Ferrell streaking, for sure. And then the opening scene with Luke Wilson. And I'm not going to spoil who his fiance is because I just remembered who it is, and I shouldn't have thought about this movie too much because I think that's the issue too. Is like I don't really think about the movie, but then when we are sitting down to record the podcast, I start to think about what do I remember about the movie, and then I kind of almost spoil the well, hello there category for myself. You're like, oh yeah, so and so was in this.
Yeah,
but I do remember the scene where he comes home and he finds her just with a bunch of people.
Yes.
Should we move on to whether we're gonna...
I was gonna hit you with some facts.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm just totally skipping over right now. Yeah. Why should you talk, Ryan?
It's overrated. Trust me, I'm aware. Movie was released on February 21st of 2003 with a budget of $24 million, and it made $87 million. Something that I thought was interesting, this movie was actually inducted into the Guy Movie Hall of Fame at the Spike's Guy Choice Awards in 2012. So
is that a thing?
That's still? Apparently, I don't know if it's still a thing, but apparently it was. Big songs from the time period, Eminem, Lose Yourself, Hey Ya by Outkast, and Beyonce and Jay-Z's Crazy in Love. Big movies would be Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, Finding Nemo, and Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. TV shows, CSI, American Idol, and Friends, which I feel like every time we talk about a movie, it's one of the popular TV shows.
Well, we've done a lot of 90s movies, so Friends obviously was... I just said obviously weird. I'm like,
yes. Take a shot.
Was... a very iconic TV show in the 90s.
Definitely held up.
Yeah. I think it still was on top until the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They could have really done like Big Bang Theory and been on for like 3 more seasons if they all wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But, it's better to go out.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they did 10 seasons, which is...
Yeah. And like
most
200
shows
episodes.
Would love that.
Yeah.
So now can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
I'm like, am I forgetting something else? What do you think? Do you think it's going to hold up?
I kind of went back and forth, and I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that dates it, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to laugh, but it's not going to hold up in the long run. Like, I'll still think parts of it are funny. I think there's going to be parts that are very offensive that you could not get away with today. So I'm saying no.
I agree. I think that there's going to be parts that maybe are a little nostalgic for me that I thought were hilarious when I was younger. Like I said, I was like a junior high school, so this probably hit me right in that prime of silly humor.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you that I'm just going with the fact that it is, male based, that they're probably going to take some cheap shots at females and maybe some like minorities. I can't remember, honestly.
I distinctly remember the one character they just call Spanish.
Could be worse. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
I do remember that because it isn't the guy from Reaper.
Yes.
Okay.
Ben.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously something like that could be way worse.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, it's not something people could get away with.
No.
Unless he named himself that, I guess. Then it's we live in a very touchy world these days. So, yeah, I agree. It's probably not going to hold up. It is a good, how many years old now?
16.
16 years old.
Which is insane. That does make me feel old. I would say this was like my introduction to frat boy humor. Yeah, take a shot. And I feel like that is almost a dead genre.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's
There's
gonna hold
definitely, when I worked at the video store, I remember there being some movies that came out in the 90s that were, you know, guys behaving badly type movies.
Mm-hmm.
And there were definitely ones that are probably way more offensive. And there's ones that are done well.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, you can still have that humor that is male-based. But I just think there's going to just be things that age it in general.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
we'll
mean,
see.
16 years has passed, so it's got to age.
And this world has changed a lot
Oh,
in
yes,
the
we
last
have.
16 years. So we will see. We're going to go ahead. Oh, before I do that, I always forget this.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't own Old School on DVD like we do, you can rent it from any of the streaming apps. It doesn't look like it's available on Netflix or Hulu, so that sucks.
Sad.
I don't get that. I mean, I guess it goes through waves. I just feel like we live in 2019. Every movie should be on Netflix or Hulu or one of them. It's gotten a little better, but I remember a couple years ago I'd be like, you know what movie I really want to watch? I can't think of a movie, but, you know, there'd be a random movie I want to watch.
Insert name.
We don't own the DVD, and I'm looking for it on one of the streaming apps that I pay for, and nobody has it,
Yeah.
and it's really frustrating. Then I have to rent it, and then all of a sudden, 2 months later, it's on fucking Netflix. Yeah, I'm cussing. 'Cause
Whoa.
it angers me.
Shots
it happens
fired.
all the time. And I'm like, wow, if I would have just waited 2 months, I didn't have to pay $3.
Yeah, but you want to see it then.
Yeah, that's true.
I get it.
Anyway, rant over.
Correct.
So if you do have it on DVD, pop that into your random game console.
Or your DVD player, if you
have a
own one of
please
those.
let me know if you have a DVD player. I just want to know if people still have those. I'm sure they do.
I think we need to get to a point where we review a movie and we have to
Movie?
a movie. Take a shot. Where I would have to hook up the VCR. We do own one.
I feel like we got rid of it.
No, it's still in there. I looked the other day. Like, that would be awesome. And be like, pop that VCR. I don't know how you would hook it
Pop
up.
that
though.
VCR. It's VHS tape.
Yeah, but I don't even know how we would. Well, I guess it might have like the 3-prong hookup, the like yellow, red, white.
Yeah, I'm
ports.
sure it has
Okay.
that. That's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure our TV still has that. Do TVs? It would be crazy when TVs stop having those connections.
Where everything's like a Bluetooth connection. They're like, we don't even have
Yeah.
an HDMI cord for you anymore. You just
That will be the day that I stop giving up on
probably-
technology.
probably be in about 3 years.
Don't say that.
I'm throwing it out there.
We just watched Black Mirror, so I'm a little
Oh,
freaked out
man.
by everything. So, shall we hit the pause?
Pause.
That's like what we like to say.
I'd like to point out at the
like-
beginning of this episode, we introduced a movie and someone neglected to call it a 2003.
Classic.
Thank you. So
I know.
we're gonna hit the pause.
I'm off today. We're not recording on a regular day.
No.
I'm just so thrown off right now. I'm sorry, guys.
Way to let us all down. So, we're going to hit the pause and go pop our movie into our DVD player, and we'll be back.
We don't have a DVD player.
Into the PS4.
He's a liar. Don't trust him.
We do have a DVD player
Where?
in our bedroom.
Oh, we do.
It's more of a Blu-ray player.
That's true. It's the shittiest Blu-ray player. No, it really is. It's the shittiest Blu-ray player.
Because
Pretty
it
sure I
takes
got
about
it on
7
Black
minutes
Friday.
to read a disc.
Like 10 years ago, and it takes forever to read a disc. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go
It's not
take
the
a
best
shower real quick while it's
quality.
loading.
There you go.
Anyway, let's hit the pause pods,
Pause.
and we'll be back to review Old School.
Okay, and we're back. We just finished watching the 2003 classic Old School. And now we're going to go ahead and break down our movie with our usual categories. And we'll kick it off by using our about
Why?
our about 2-inch thick laptop so we can cheat on our exam. And let's talk about some technology.
Was that the scene towards the end when Artie Ling and
Spoiler alert. cameo by Artie Lang.
Oh, did you have that on you?
Which is just funny that he would be in a movie after just a couple days ago we were talking about him with Danny and Greg.
Yeah.
And he looks so much better in this movie than what he does right now.
Yes. I think it might have been when he was kind of clean.
Yeah, he was like doing Howard Stern, I think, at this point, too. Yeah, and he had a full nose at this point. So if you don't know what we're talking about, go ahead and Google Artie Lang 2019 and prepare to just be disturbed.
Like, not only does he look like he's 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, his nose is all jacked up.
Yeah, it's rough. So, what pieces of technology did you notice?
The first thing I noticed, because I feel like the first couple of scenes I wasn't really paying attention or I didn't notice, was Nicole, who is Ellen Pompeo, who, spoiler alert, I totally forgot was in the movie. She buys Mitch a housewarming present. It's a CD holder.
Yeah.
And I just find that kind of funny now because nobody really buys CDs anymore.
No. And the thing that I did think was funny was I did notice at his job he had a CD player in the background, like on his desk, but it was one of those CD players that were kind of popular around this time period where it was the ones where the disc would sit vertical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, that's kind of old.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything else?
Well, I mean, I saw a couple other things, but Beanie, who is Vince Vaughn's character, he owns stores called Speaker City.
Yes.
And I was like, let's be honest, it's probably going to be out of business now in 2019.
Oh, absolutely.
As nobody goes to... I'm surprised Best Buy is still in business.
It's probably hanging by a thread.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like overpriced electronics. Nobody has time for that anymore.
But what's impressive is when you think about how Circuit City went under 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Best Buy is still, I mean, it's probably hanging on by a thread, but it's still around.
I mean, the fact that Circuit City went out of business is probably the only reason why Best Buy is still in business, because they have competition and the fact that like Amazon exists and Walmart, but
the other ones that I personally noticed as far as technology was like they have their first meeting for their fraternity, and they're like using a camera to project Vince Vaughn onto a big screen television.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those big screen televisions that were popular in like 1995.
Oh, that had like it wasn't plasma. TV. Yeah, it was a projector.
Yeah.
My dad had one of those for the longest time.
My brother had one, and it caught fire. And
I remember that because I think it was the exact same one my dad had.
Yeah, and then we beat it up with a baseball bat at his apartment complex.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know. The other piece of technology that I noticed where I was like, that is something that would not be around nowadays, and it kind of played a big part in the movie, and there's the end chase scene where the dean, who's played by Jeremy Piven, is like running away with a recording that a student made on a like tape recorder where they use the little tiny cassettes.
Yes.
And I was just like, nobody would have that nowadays.
No, they would just use their cell phone.
They would use their cell phone, or at worst, they would use like one of those ones that it's like a computer chip in there.
Oh yeah, like a digital recorder.
Digital recorder. Like nobody's using one of those.
The only other thing I noticed was when Frank was calling his wife, who during the movie they get separated very quickly, right?
Oh my lord, yeah.
2 minutes after they get married, and he has this huge flip phone.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, 2003 flip phones.
And there was another piece that I forgot to mention was the TV. They are all at a Comfort Inn.
Yes.
And that TV was, I think, out of like 1985.
The TV and like the video quality of they're watching Jeremy Piven. I don't know why like Jeremy Piven's character is like, I'm going to record this thing telling you what you need to do to like
save your fraternity.
Right.
Yeah.
And the quality was just horrible, and it was amazing. I loved every minute of it. Do you want to move on to our next category? I'm going to edit that out.
I am ready to move on.
Okay, our next category is called Kids Would Call It a Throwback. We call it the Prime of Our Teens, where we talk about either fashion choices or offensive jokes, dated references, and we talk about if any of those things if they can get away with them in 2019. What did you have?
I can honestly say for fashion choices, I was struggling. I just noticed there was a lot of polo shirts in the movie.
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like it was like polo shirts that dated the movie or anything, because it wasn't like real baggy ones like from like when we watched American Pie and they were really oversized. Like I felt like Luke Wilson's character was just wearing a polo shirt. The only other thing was Frank the Tank over here, who always seemed to be wearing a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. But what pieces did you notice? Because that's not it.
There's a scene where Frank's wife, who I can't remember the character's name.
I haven't written
it
down.
starts with a V. Is it Vivian or Victoria or
Marissa.
Marissa? Nope. Not even close.
Starts with a G.
She and
Rachel. Gotcha.
She and her friends are doing a blowjob class.
As you do.
Yeah. And the teacher is wearing a crop top. But it's polo, and it has a white like collar, and I totally had something like that. Like that was very popular in the early 2000s, was the polo shirts but with a white collar and then whatever color or stripes. So it reminded me of a shirt that I had.
And it should be noted that the teacher's dog had the same matching polo shirt.
Yeah, and then also Marissa, right?
Yes.
Had this sleeveless pink, almost like Chanel turtleneck that had these two pom-poms or just balls. Yeah. It looked like balls. Somebody probably chose that because it looked like a ball sack on the side of her neck. And I was like, well, that's an interesting top.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was probably something that was stylish in 2003. But man, it looks ridiculous now.
That was an interesting fashion choice.
Did you have any like offensive jokes or dated references?
There was, right off the bat at the very beginning of the movie, Luke Wilson's character gets into a taxi cab, and he looks at the taxi cab driver and it's like, hey, there's a broken seatbelt back here. And the guy was like, what are you, a faggot? Yeah. And I was just like,
unnecessary.
You call him that because he's like, my seatbelt's broken?
Because he's just trying to be safe?
Yeah.
Safety first, man.
The other thing that I noticed, and it was like at the end, Will Ferrell's character is working at the radio station for the college, and there's some posters on the wall. One of the posters is for Garbage.
Nice.
The band, not for like trash. Let's clarify that.
I don't know why I find that so funny. Not for trash. They're not a poster for trash. Anyway.
And then there was a poster for Buckcherry.
Oh, wow.
Like, when was the last time those guys had a hit?
Right?
2005? I don't know. So that dates it. And also, there was a Hoobastank poster on Beanie's wall when he was like trying to hook up with some co-ed. And then
he wasn't trying to hook up with her.
Oh, he was kind of, and then he instantly had a change of heart.
But then he was like, oh yeah, I'm married.
I'm married to Leah Rim.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't really notice anything. I don't know if I wasn't just paying attention or what. Mm-hmm. I'm a little off today, guys. But the only offensive thing I really saw as far as like overly offensive was the taxi driver in the beginning. And then I was really, really surprised there wasn't more. There's like little things, but not anything like overly like, whoa, calm down.
Oh, and there was the part where Jeremy Piven doesn't know the student's last name.
Yes,
and
when
he
was
was like
bribing a student.
Yeah, her last name's Chang, and he calls her Wang.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's Chang. And he's like, whatever. I'm like, oh, jeez.
I was like, racist. But I think that's not like, haha, it's funny because he's making fun of this Asian student. It's more like, that's the kind of dick he is.
That's true.
He doesn't give a shit.
No fucks were given.
Is there anything else? Because I didn't really have much on this category.
No, that's... I always like to like look for posters and stuff on the wall, so I was actually genuinely excited to see a Buckcherry poster. Me and Josh Todd are the only ones that would be excited for that.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you think they could get away with that stuff in 2019?
Obviously, saying the F word.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And some of the stuff, I don't know, like, I kept waiting for them to be more demeaning towards women, because I just figured this movie would be that way. But it really doesn't. It's really more about three guys, like, bonding with each other in their little group of fraternity rushes. I was a little more surprised.
I was Yeah, definitely surprised. I was expecting it to
I mean,
be...
don't get me wrong. I think the thing that dates it the most, and it shouldn't even date it because it's still icky even in 2003, was the fact that Luke Wilson slept with a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And they were just like, whatever. Obviously, he was freaked out because it was his boss's daughter.
Yeah.
But it was just brushed under the rug.
Yeah.
It's obviously a comedy movie, so I'm not saying he's going to get arrested or... Regardless, I'm overthinking this because it is just a movie, but it just is, to me, something that they definitely couldn't get away with in 2019, is having that whole little...
I don't think they would even make that joke.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously, also, she was at a college party. He didn't know she was 17 at the time, but
That's
still... icky. It was
Yeah.
an icky plot line. Do you want to go on to our next category?
Yes. We're going to go ahead and move on to our category that we like to call Well, Hello There. And it is our category where we talk about any famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we may have forgotten were in the movie, or any cameos. And other than Smash Nose Artie Lang, who did you notice?
I had mentioned Ellen Pompeo. I totally forgot that she was in this. Again, like I think I said last time, where during the Wedding Singer episode, where it's like I remember the character, but I don't remember who plays it.
Yes.
And that's definitely one of the people. And the other one I totally forgot was in it was Eliza Cuthbert?
Yeah.
Is it Eliza or
I think it's
Alicia? Alicia Cuthbert?
I think the other one from her show, Happy Endings,
Oh,
was Eliza Coop.
From Happy Endings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar names.
Yeah, she played, Alicia Cuthbert played Darcy.
Yeah.
The 17-year-old.
The 17-year-old who is Luke Wilson's character's Mitch, his boss's daughter, who is in high school.
That is correct.
And then his boss was played by Terry O'Quinn, who is in Lost. He played John Locke.
I
recognized
him.
There was quite a few, but go ahead and I know you'll have some.
I notice he's more of a character actor, and he's been in a ton of things, which he's also in The Nurse and The Hangover. His name's Matt Walsh.
Oh, yeah,
but he plays in just a ton of comedy stuff, so he was one of Luke Wilson's coworkers in the movie.
That's the part I was thinking of when the movie ended. I was like, what is Matt Walsh in, where he's like a really big dick?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he was the nurse who was like just judging them.
Yeah. A couple of the other ones that I noticed was Rob Corddry is one of the fraternity pledges.
Yes.
And he literally does not even have a line in this movie. His name, when they list the fraternity pledges in the credits, was like the 8th name.
Was he already on The Daily Show by then? I assume he would be.
If he wasn't, he joined it the next year.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like, he's pretty... And now, I mean, he's on a TV show with Dwayne Johnson, for Pete's sake. Like, he's a pretty famous actor.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you say Simon Hedberg?
I did not say Simon Hedberg.
Simon Hedberg was also a Fraternity Rush, but he did have a couple lines.
Yeah, he had a few lines.
And then I noticed Patrick J. Adams, who is from Suits, and I think he's in Legends of Tomorrow, I want to say.
Oh.
Or he was, like, at least on a couple episodes. Yeah. And did you say the other one?
One of the aforementioned characters that we talked about earlier was the guy who was teaching a blowjob class, and that was played by superstar actor Andy Dick.
Yes.
Then there was also Craig Kilborn, who played Nicole's boyfriend Mark, and Nicole was we've already talked about her a few times. That was Ellen Pompeo. And who else?
Snoop Dogg playing himself.
It was the role he was born to play.
Himself. How many times do you think Snoop Dogg has played himself in a movie?
Ooh, I don't know, but you know what I'm sitting here actually thinking about is I remember watching Starsky and Hutch, and he doesn't play himself.
No, he plays
Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
Sean William Scott makes a cameo in this movie as the animal handler for the petting zoo.
Sean William Scott being Sean William Scott. With a mullet.
That is correct. Who else?
That's all I had, actually.
The only other one that I noticed, and it was I kind of go back to The Hangover because that's another Todd Phillips project.
Yes.
Was Brian Kalin, who played Fast Eddie in The Hangover. He just played a waiter in this movie, but he also used the same exact accent to be in this movie. So
I know he can do more accents. I used to watch him on like Mad TV.
Yeah.
But that's funny.
Yeah.
I totally forgot he was in it.
Yeah, so there was literally, and James Carville makes a cameo.
And to be honest, I kind of forgot Jeremy
people.
Piven was in it until the minute he was in it. I was like, he plays the dean, who's a jerk.
And then Leah Remini plays Vince Vaughn's wife.
Yes, there was a lot
Lewis
of people.
Played,
Juliette Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
played Mitch's girlfriend at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
there was a ton of famous people.
There was quite a few recognizable people. And then some surprising ones like Simon Hedberg from Big Bang Theory, which we mentioned already, and Terry O'Quinn and Rob Corddry. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Ready to move, go to our next subcategory?
Yeah. We're doing a great job today.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be lots of editing.
This next category is called Is It Even Good? Where we talk about the plot and the casting choices, and then we choose our favorite
Take a shot.
funniest lines or moments, and cringiest, of course. How did you like the plot?
I thought the plot was okay. It's not very believable that these 30-something-year-olds just happen to rent a house and they're like, oh, we just sectioned your house and it has to be a fraternity house. So they're just like, well, let's just start a fraternity.
Yeah.
And we're going to recruit a 90-year-old guy. And I'm like...
It's definitely, that's honestly the biggest issue I have with this movie is the fact that it's not really believable, the plot. No. And I think they rely really heavily on the comedic parts.
Yeah.
To almost like disguise that the fact that there's not really any plot.
Like, I mean, half of them aren't even enrolled in the school.
Yeah, and they kind of just brush over it like there's a loophole.
Yeah.
We won't explain it, but there's a loophole.
Yeah. So, the plot's not believable, but like you said, it's funny, and they rely on that, but there's no believability to it.
And this is the thing I've noticed in a lot of movies that we've rewatched for this podcast, is it's something you don't notice when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Or when you're younger.
No.
Because you just remember the funny parts.
Yeah.
But then you don't go, man, this movie was really good.
Yeah.
As far as plot and believable, it's just like you're just focused on the funny parts, which, overall is, I guess, all that matters in a movie that's supposed to be humorous. But
yeah,
as you get older, you're like, where's some of the subtext? And
well, how did we get to this?
Can we get a little higher quality content on that? But I agree. One thing I didn't like, and this is my biggest knock on movies that are like this, is they rely on the fact that men are oppressed when they get married.
Yeah.
And oppressed by their wives, and they're bored with their life as a whole. And also all they care about is hooking up with women and have freedom to be with their guy friends.
The only thing I'll say was, in this particular case, Luke Wilson's character, he's not married, and he comes home and finds his girlfriend cheating on him. Vince Vaughn, I think, is that guy who talks the game that he doesn't like being married and all this, but secretly loves being married.
Yeah.
He loves his life, he loves his wife and his kids, but he'll, around his buddies, he's like, this is my dream, being able to hang out with you guys. And the other one is... breaking that down further, Will Ferrell's character, there's a whole scene where, and it's kind of a weird scene, he goes to marriage counseling with his wife, and he's like, I was at dinner the other night and I was wondering, what color panties does the waitress have on? And you're like, okay, so you're also a freaking douchebag.
Yeah. You
probably should never have gotten married. So
exactly.
There's like the part where they're like, oh, I'm so oppressed that I'm married. But Todd Phillips also writes it like, yeah, he's oppressed, but he's also a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
So that was some of the things.
I agree. I'm not saying that Todd Phillips is saying that all men are oppressed and they hate being married and they don't really like their wives. They just got married because that. But I think that is a thing that's happened in a lot of movies that are like this, that are centered around the men behaving badly, that it's almost a stereotype, or not even a stereotype, but it's almost perceived that you as a man should feel that way, that you shouldn't like your wife. You shouldn't be best friends with your wife or see it as a 50-50 partnership. You're just trying to live your life, and this woman's taking over your life and telling you what to do. Like, and
it was funny because you mentioned it during the movie. You're like, this movie parallels The Hangover.
Yes.
A lot. Bradley Cooper's character, Phil, in
Vince Vaughn.
is Vince Vaughn. He talks the mad game about like, oh, I'm getting away and getting to Vegas. And then at the end of The Hangover, he's carrying his son around, and he's just so happy to be there with his wife.
Right.
He's that douche friend of yours who talks that mad game in front of you. But you're like, man, how does your wife put up with this? Oh, that's how. You don't act like this to her.
Yeah.
You act like the loving husband that you are. You just try to sound cool to
it almost
your
makes
buddies.
You question it. So who is he really? Like, is he really the loving husband, or is he really the douchebag?
Yeah.
Or is he a psychopath because he's just telling people what they want to hear?
Touche.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, I thought that was a great point, and it was interesting, like, when you just, like, immediately picked up on it, you're like, this is the same character.
Yeah. It's a cliche now. There's not a lot of men behaving badly in movies. There's more women behaving badly, which are almost overdone now. That's a good point. Since Bridesmaids came out, it's almost been overdone as well. So,
because you bring up a good point, the guy versions, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw one.
Yeah, if there was, it was probably like a straight to Netflix or nobody's putting a lot of money behind that anymore.
No. What did you think of the casting choices?
I thought they were all good. Mm-hmm. I loved Luke Wilson. Mm-hmm. He's a good straight character.
Yeah.
Straight man. Vince Vaughn is... Everything he says sounds funny to me because he's got that sarcastic tone that I like.
There's people in Hollywood that it amazes me that they could be an actor for as long as they are before they'll go into like a comedic role where you notice like just how funny they are and how good a comedic timing they have. Uh-huh. And I would say Vince Vaughn's at the top of that list because like I don't know what's the one that him and Jon Favreau are on? Swingers. That came out in like 1995. This was like 8 years later, and you realize like, I guess he's a little witty in Swingers, but you like here he's just like punchline after punchline after punchline.
This is the person he becomes for the next decade.
Yeah,
is somebody that does these comedic movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Will Ferrell's character is funny.
Yes.
Pretty much everybody. I do have some gripes about one character in particular, but that's going to be for later. What about your funniest moment?
There's just a lot of like stupid lines that will always make me laugh when I would watch it, and then watching it back, they still got me to chuckle. Like Luke Wilson's drunk at the wedding, and he is talking to Ellen Pompeo, and he's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And she's like, "Denver," and he's like, the Sunshine State, gorgeous, gorgeous," and you're just like. That's not the Sunshine State.
He's just so drunk.
But I love that scene. But I think my favorite scene, and it's stupid, and it's just I would imagine Will Ferrell ab-libbing the scene is he walks into the like first party, and they offer him like I want to say it was a beer bong or something, and he's like, "No, I can't do that." He's like, I got a big day tomorrow. He's like, pretty nice Saturday plan. We're gonna go to Home Depot and pick out some wallpaper, maybe Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't know. Might not have enough time. And I'm like, it's so stupid. It cracks me up.
But also kind of realistic to a married person.
Yeah, like I can't do that.
That's what you do on Saturday.
Yeah.
Mine was another Will Ferrell scene during the birthday party. It's Vince Vaughn's son's birthday party, Max, and he gets hit by the tranquilizer dart.
Yes.
And when it starts taking effect, and he's like, "You're crazy, man." I don't know why I find that so hilarious. You're crazy. And just the whole scene where he's like slowly stomping around the birthday party and just ruining everything. And then when he falls in the pool, and then they play Sound of Silence.
Beautiful.
It's just an amazing scene still. I find it hilarious. And also when they say earmuffs, because like you said earlier, we still quote that.
Yeah,
we still say earmuffs.
Like my brother probably said it to my mom in the last year. They're like, earmuffs, Mom. Like, which is just funny.
How about your cringiest line?
My cringiest scene it's when Frank the Tank gets shot with the tranquilizer. And he goes to this like daydream where his wife is talking to him, and she's like on a beach, and her hair is like blowing in the wind, and it's really nicely shot. But then she slowly leans in, and I was like, why is her mouth opening like that? And she's like going right at the camera, and then what it is because Sean William Scott is giving Frank mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
And it just turns into Frank because he saw his wife coming in. They're just making out at that point. Which it's just the way his wife went at the camera. I was like, nah.
Like, don't eat me.
Yeah.
The only cringiest line I felt like was super cringy was Craig Kilborn's character.
Ugh.
He played Nicole's douchebag boyfriend.
Total slimeball.
And he was just making out with the caterer. Mm-hmm. She's like, you're bad. He's like, you know it, I'm bad. When Luke Wilson's character catches him in the act, like, it's guy code. You can't tell Nicole.
Yeah.
I'm like,
guy code, bro.
Douchebag move. Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
The only thing where I was just like, this is kind of unnecessary, and it was like weird. I don't know that it was so much unnecessary, but there's a scene where Joseph Blue Pulaski, the 89-year-old pledge, he's going to have a KY wrestling match with two co-eds.
Sure.
And I was literally typing some notes about the movie at that exact moment, and then all of a sudden this song started playing where all it was some woman screaming.
Yeah, I'm not
just
sure what that was.
weirdly in the background, and I look up and I'm like, oh, they're gonna wrestle. Like, what is this song? I thought that was such a weird choice, and I was like, why?
The only other scene that I found kind of funny was the end. There's like 5 end credit scenes, but when Craig Kilborn's driving and he happens to swerve and the car lands on Jeremy Piven's character, because obviously those two characters are like the villains in the movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it kind of reminded me of in Billy Madison when Chris Farley gets his justice with isn't he driving the like O'Doyle kids, and
O'Doyle rules,
and they're like kind of the villains in that movie, where they're just like jerks.
And Bradley Whitford,
but and then the bus crashes. It just reminded me of that, like it's the villains getting their justice, but it's a little cheesy.
Yeah, but,
definitely. Should we move on to our final thoughts?
Yes, we shall. And as you know, here on Ruining Our Childhood, it is always award season.
Always award season.
And we hand out 2 awards every week. They are extremely prestigious. Take a shot. And the first award is the valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting.
You said it right this time.
I literally read it this time because I was like, don't want to mess it up this week. Who are you giving your award to?
I really had to think about this because I didn't, and I think this is the flaw of the movie, I didn't feel like a lot of the characters were developed in general.
No.
The 3 guys, a little bit. Enough to make you want to root for them a little.
Yeah.
But the person I had to give it to was Ellen Pompeo.
Okay.
Because her character is severely underdeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's not about her, so that's really not even my reason for picking her. There's a scene where she is looking at an apartment with her boyfriend, and she's talking in like a higher octave than what she normally talks in everything I've seen her in. Mm-hmm. Grey's Anatomy, obviously, is the one thing she's known for the most part. And I don't know what it is, but it doesn't sound like that's her natural voice.
It might have been, because this was obviously before.
Because I think she has like a kind of a deeper, raspier voice.
Yeah. Like maybe that was the voice she was trying to put out there, that was her voice to get roles, because this was possible. before Grey's. So.
That's true. Yeah. But it kind of annoyed me. And then her character is barely in the movie and it's kind of one note.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to be rooting for her and Luke Wilson when they're only in like 3 scenes together.
That's a good point.
So it's the romance aspect is a very low B plot to the movie. It's not the point of the movie.
No.
But I always hate when movies have to add in that romance for just to bring some sort of conclusion to a movie. But I even felt like Leah Remini's character was more developed than hers, and she was only in like 2 scenes of the movie.
No, and you bring up a good point, and it goes back to his other main project that everyone knows him for. It was the same thing. Like, what was the point of Stu and Jade's
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham's character, like, and Ed Helms in The Hangover? Like,
yeah.
What was the point of having that?
Just to basically get him to end his relationship with his douchebag girlfriend.
It's just, yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I notice it happens a lot in movies, even in like romantic movies where there's the 2 main people that are romantic. They always have to like hook up like the best friends or, you know, somebody that it's not very developed and it doesn't make sense, but they're like, everybody deserves a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I just chose her out of that aspect of the higher octave thing.
Well, I gave my award to someone who I have never enjoyed their work, so every time they pop up in a film or a television series, it makes me want to scream because I don't know how this person has ever gotten work.
Oh, wow.
And that is Andy Dick.
You don't like Andy Dick?
I do not like Andy Dick in the least. I'm like, I
Things I learn about my husband 12 years later.
I don't find him funny. I find him annoying. I did like that him and the dog had the matching polo shirt. Like, that part I liked. But it's like right when I saw him, I'm like, oh, I forgot you were in this. And he was wearing like the dumbest wig. Like it was like a bob haircut. If I never see him in a movie again, I'll be okay with it.
Poor Andy Dick.
I just, no, not a fan of his.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I get it. He's definitely not everybody's favorite.
Yeah, he has an acquired taste.
I did like his turn in Love on Netflix with Gillian Jacobs. Mm-hmm. He played himself. I liked him in that, but he was very calm. Yeah. Like, he wasn't as crazy as... He's definitely one of those people that was popular in the 90s when things were overdone or over the top.
Have that over the top character. I always looked at him as like he was a poor man's David Spade to me.
Okay.
And I will take David Spade over him.
I can see that as far as like him being in news radio. He was very much that kind of sarcastic to like David Spade's in Just Shoot Me.
Just Shoot Me, yeah. Mm-hmm. And David Spade's got 100 times more charm than Andy Dick.
I agree. I get where you're coming from. Should we move on to our Thomas J. Hanks Award for exceptional acting? Who did you give it to?
I gave my award to the legendary comedy actor William Ferrell.
You're killing me, Ryan. You're killing me.
The reason I gave him it, because also I love Will Ferrell. I know some of the stuff he's done the last few years hasn't been the greatest. But I honestly felt out of everybody in this movie, you couldn't replace Will Ferrell as Frank the Tank. You could replace Vince Vaughn. You brought up a good person that could have played him. Bradley Cooper would have did just fine as the Vince Vaughn character.
Yes.
Luke Wilson? Oh, wow. His brother could have played that role and done better. You cannot replace Frank the Tank as Will Ferrell.
That's true. And that's why I chose him as well.
Boom!
Because...
Unanimous!
I had a secondary, I had a runner-up, but all of Will Ferrell's scenes were funny. Mm-hmm. The birthday party scene?
Yes.
Hilarious. When they're doing the debate and he just goes into this, like, stream of consciousness of, like, really smart things. Yeah. And then when he's done, he's just like, like, he was possessed. Even when he was doing the floor routine. Oh,
the floor routine is the best. Because Vince Vaughn's just standing there, like, entranced by him.
Yeah, and when he, like, flings it at Jeremy Piven and Jeremy Piven's like, get the fuck away from me. No, I agree. Everything he did was hilarious. The streaking part is obviously something that I found hilarious. Mm-hmm. A lot of his lines are quotable.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. I think we said this last week with Adam Sandler. People are known for certain ways of comedy. Mm-hmm. And Will Ferrell's he likes to yell too.
Yes.
I don't know.
So dry with the lines
he is.
Too.
And
it's just delightful.
Sure, that he reuses that type of comedy in a lot of his stuff, but this is really his first main character role, I would say.
Yeah, this was his breakout, I would say.
So it's really well done, and he's hilarious, and I totally agree that anybody else could be replaced in this movie, but it would be really hard to replace his character.
Yes.
Because he is Frank the Tank.
That is correct.
My runner-up was Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, because he was good.
Yeah, I mean, he's Jeremy Piven. He plays a good jerk.
He plays that jerk in so many movies.
He does.
And he obviously, like, Ari Gold on Entourage, which is probably what he's most famous for. It was definitely kind of a jerk. And
I always liked him because I'm a big John Cusack fan, and he's really good friends with him, so he's in a lot of his movies, and he always plays that, like, best friend who's kind of a dick. But just everything he says is funny. Like, when he's bribing the tennis player, the girl, and she, like, turns around, and he's like, Don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. Turn around.
Yeah. So he was my runner-up.
Yeah. As our house guest pointed out, he was Lori Loughlin in it pretty good with the bribery. Very topical joke. Well done, Danny.
Why?
Yeah.
So, should we move on to our final thoughts? Oh, one more thing. One of my favorite bit jokes that Frank does is re-gifting the bread machine. That to me is hilarious because he gives it to Mitch as a housewarming present, and Mitch is like, I gave this to you. He's like, oh, the same model? He's like, no, nope. The same exact one. And then he tries to give it to
Max.
Beanie, like his son.
To Max. Yeah. And then the other thing, just Frank the Tank, summed up in a nutshell, is him laying on the ground after he secured the tape. And he's like, I'm so cold. I saw blue. He looked glorious. Just...
I love Will
He
Ferrell.
is delightful.
I don't care what anybody else says. Will Ferrell's still hilarious.
He's a national treasure, that man.
So, should we move on to whether this movie holds up? The whole reason why we're here today.
Yes.
What do you think?
While I laughed at the movie, I don't think it holds up. I can't see myself really rewatching it that much going forward in my life. I feel like this is something that's kind of, like we said, the frat boy humor is kind of a dead thing. There's some jokes that you can't get away with, and I'm just like you said, they're not super developed characters.
Yeah.
Even your main three characters are not really developed, which I think going forward, Todd Phillips has done a good job.
Yeah.
Like, Hangover was great. He won a Golden Globe for Hangover. And this year he has the Joker movie coming out with Joaquin Phoenix that looks very good and really dark. Total departure from these. And he's going to make my boy Hulk Hogan's biopicture with Thor. Thor. So I think going forward, he has really become an excellent filmmaker, and you can see that this was his early work, and it doesn't really age well.
I agree. The reason why I said in the beginning the movie wasn't going to hold up was because I figured there was going to be a lot of offensive jokes, basically like demeaning women. And honestly, that stuff didn't really happen in this movie. Yeah. I was kind of surprised. The reason I agree with you is because the plot wasn't great.
Plot wasn't great, and characters
I think that the older we get, the more I want to see better writing in a movie, and I get not every movie is going to be Oscar worthy, and I'm pretty sure I said that before.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it should have been written better. And the jokes were hilarious. Like you said, there was parts that were hilarious, but I agree, it's just not that good of a movie.
I agree with you 100%. Like, there's literally thousands of movies that they are not trying to win a Best Picture award. They just want to entertain you.
Yes.
And I do feel like while I was entertained, I agree with you, like, there's no character development. And we actually went this past week and saw a movie in theaters. We went and watched Dark Phoenix. And when we left, we were like, it was terrible.
Yes.
We ripped up the terrible writing.
Yeah.
The terrible acting that was in the movie. And it's like, so, yeah, I don't expect any Marvel movie. I know this year was an anomaly and Black Panther was nominated for Best Picture, and I don't expect that to happen a lot. But I do expect to enjoy a movie and find the writing entertaining and just that's all I want from a movie is that I can enjoy it. Whereas I do enjoy Old School. I would not put it in the same category as Dark Phoenix. And if you haven't gotten to see that movie, and that's right, gotten is the word I went with, don't go see it. It is awful.
Unless you like poorly written superhero movies.
Then this is your bag.
But if you don't, just go see Avengers again.
Yeah, go watch Endgame again. Help it break the record. Go see that.
So, yeah. I feel like we haven't had a movie in a while that we agreed that it didn't hold up.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
So, congratulations, Old School.
Way to help us feel mutual disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah!
So, I guess that's it for us today.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to check out our Facebook page. We're starting to do polls.
Yes, we appreciate everyone who voted.
Yes,
thank you.
We had quite a few people vote in our last poll for this movie. Next week we'll have another poll, maybe?
Yeah, possible.
We'll do it again?
Yeah, sounds good.
And if you want to feel like your voice is being heard, then definitely go to our Facebook page at Ruining Our Childhood and vote in our next poll, which will be today. It would be when you are hearing this on a Tuesday. You should be able to go to Facebook. And then, again, if you don't know how to go to Facebook, then I'm sorry.
It's the blue F.
It's the blue F on your
widget?
phone.
Is that what those are called on your phone?
Widgets?
The little icon?
I think so.
Yeah. Also, we had someone write in a suggestion to us. And also, if you have suggestions on movies you'd like us to review, please submit those because that is very helpful. Because there's going to come a day we're going to be like, what movie should we do? So that's always helpful. Follow us on Instagram at
Ruining Our Childhood. That's
and
the name of this podcast.
That again is the icon that is a camera.
Yes.
And then we're on the tweets.
On the tweets.
With the Twitters.
ROC Movie Podcast.
And that's going to be the bird.
That is the bird.
Yeah. Don't hit the music note. You won't find us on there.
No.
We are in the App Store.
We are in the... no, I mean, it's podcasts now.
There you go. Podcast.
Not the App Store.
Yeah, podcast.
We're on Spreaker. Yeah. We're on Podcoin.
Yeah.
We're on a bunch of things. So you should definitely check that out.
And then you could use the Compass one, and you could find us by typing in Facebook or something. And this joke has just ran its course, and I beat it into the ground.
Yep. Yeah. Like Old School. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we'll leave it at that, guys. And I hope you have a great week. And we'll see you next week.
On Ruining Our Childhood.
Is that going to be a thing we do now?
Nope.
Okay.
Bye.